What's up, y'all? I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about my Veto Pro Pack MC tool bag, and this isn't going to be a review as much as it is going to be just my opinions on this bag after owning it for the last 3 years. So this is the first Veto Pro Pack that I ever purchased in January of 2016. So we just hit the 3-year mark, and I think it's held up extremely well. I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but there's some minor fraying on some of the edges. Of course, a little bit of discoloration from being out in the sun, getting wet, a little bit of fraying from attaching other bags to it and dragging it around. But other than that, there's no serious malfunctions on this bag. The zippers are excellent, and that's because I've never actually lubricated them. Now, it does live in the back of my van, but in Central Texas, sometimes it can get a little dusty, and you get to work and sometimes leave a van door open or a truck door open, and you get some dust blowing through, some sand. So it happens, things get pelted, take a blower, blow out the van, wash it out. But like I said, I've dusted these things off, I've blown them off the blower, vacuumed them real quick, but I have not yet once lubricated the zippers on any of my Vetos. I probably should have, but I haven't. And they function perfectly, with the exception of overstuffing. You can sort of get things caught like I just did, but the zipper itself works fine. Now, this is the MC. This is their first compact, I believe. So it's the smallest footprint that they had, and they've since expanded on this. They have the MCT, and then they decided to bring this same bag into the tech market. So it has the tech bag color scheme with the things you're used to from the tech series, like the neoprene, the tape clips, the outside pockets for pens, markers, pencils, and such, and the internal extras that you get from the tech series that you don't get from the brown bag or standard tool bag series. But this was the entry level to me because it was the lowest price point that I could get the full Veto experience as I was sort of understanding it, whereas you're getting a hard base with a bag that closes up tight. So I went with this bag because I was still a little bit skeptical and on the fence about Veto. I mean, I thought, man, they're a little bit expensive. What I'm seeing, though, people are liking them. They're saying the quality's there, and I just wanted to get my foot in the door. And I did want a compact tool bag because I wanted something that I could carry up on rooftops or even get into attics with, and I could have the basic hand tools that I needed. And I figured, well, for the price point and for the size of it, I'll start with this, and if I need to upgrade later, sure, I'll upgrade later, because I'm the kind of person that doesn't mind spending money on quality, but sometimes I can be a little skeptical when I get my foot in the door initially. So since purchasing this bag, I've picked up 6 or 7 Vetos. I've bought a few to give away to friends and family, and no regrets. Personally, I've been a fan of pretty much everyone that I've bought. There are a few that I haven't picked up strictly because I thought they wouldn't sit me well, but that's all up to your own opinion. You know, if you see something that you think you can use, try to get your hands on it and see if you can actually feel it physically, and even if you know someone who has one with tools in it, that way you can see more or less in a real world scenario what you can do with it. That was part of my skepticism, but I went to a tool store that had it in San Antonio, and I was able to put a couple hand tools they had on the display, and I told the guy, look, I just want to make sure it's going to fit what I got. He's like, yeah, no problem. So I threw a couple hand tools in it, and that's when I decided, okay, I can make this work. So I don't have all the specs in front of me. I'll put a link in the description where you can find the specs on this bag, but I don't have, the ratings of what denier nylon and all that. But it's not meant to be fully waterproof, but I had this thing out in the rain, actually, a light drizzle the last couple days. Everything's dry inside, and it's dried off completely. So you have 2 sides to this bag that are identical. Well, I don't want to say identical. This side, without the Veto Pro Pack name logo on it, is sort of the meter side. It's a little bit more wide open. This side has more of your vertical pockets for hand tools, so that's how I'm using it. So the reason I haven't used this bag too much in the last year is because I've sort of dedicated it to my networking tools, and I don't do a whole lot of networking in data anymore. On our new projects and our even larger remodels and whatnot, I tend to sub that out anytime I can. If there's not already a subcontractor doing low volt and data already, I'll try to get someone in there that I trust. Basically, it just keeps my workload down. And essentially not really down in certain cases. It's just one less thing I have to worry about. But for other clients, we have service calls to do, either existing clients or new clients, recommendations and referrals. I'll go ahead and do some light low voltage troubleshooting if I can for them, fit in the schedule, and if not, I'll obviously refer them to my contact. But I like to have the basic hand tools for electrical in just about every bag, and so that's mainly what's in here, plus a couple of minor data installation tools. So I used it a couple days ago to do some light data installation because my subcontractor couldn't get onto a job in a certain time frame that we had to complete, but he was going to be able to do the final verification after move-in day, so that was fine. So I went and installed a bunch of the jacks. So I just have some basic things, a little 1/4-inch nut driver, some drill adapter, nut drivers, little coax termination kit for F connectors that I can either clip on my belt or clip on one of the D-rings here and just have it available at the ready. Multi with a punch tool because I lost the insert for my punch down tool, and my supplier had this in stock, so I bought it while I was waiting for my insert to come in, just so I could get some terminations done in. It's been handy to have, so I just kept it. Do have a roll gear, and it's fairly new because, again, I don't use this bag very much, but when I do, I want to have enough bits. So it's got some Torx, Robertson, different flats, and Phillips. For pliers, I have these Irwin that are actually made by NWS in Germany, but they're rebranded. They since don't have this license anymore, so they're not selling them. Milwaukee in Europe is actually licensed the same NWS designs, and they have some VDE versions for 1000 volt. These are not 1000 volt, these are just a standard comfort grips, but with Irwin's own design and color scheme on top of the NWS pliers. But I really liked them. I had a couple pairs before that I've either shorted out or lost, so I bought a full set of, I don't want to say a full set, but your basics, your linemen, your diagonals, a couple different size needle nose to keep in this bag, because I kind of want to keep them in good shape. And since I don't use this bag every day, it was a perfect spot. Cline heavy duty strippers back here, little cheap multi precision screwdriver, and a little Cline wire stripper. And I kind of like this one more than the Ideal that comes with the coax kit, because both the dies are actually ready to go. You don't have to swap the dies to the blade, so you can strip your coax or your Cat 6. You can just pick whichever one you're using and it's right there. So the only reason I keep that one in here, this one I mean, the Ideal, because it comes with the full set and I can just clip it on outside and it doesn't take up that much more room, and then the case is molded for it. It doesn't fit the other guy. So basic electrical hand tools with some strippers and crimpers. I have some more stuff back here. Now I like to keep a Veto PV4 with spare parts. So I have F connectors, barrels, jacks. I have fillers for keystone adapters. I have a couple of little manual punch down tools, more RJ45 jacks. I have some Scotch lock connectors in here loose. Just stuff that I would typically like to keep a little organizer case, but since this bag is so small, it kind of worked out to keep it in here. And when I'm doing the install like I did last week, I can clip this on the side. It's at the ready. Open this guy up, and then I can have some room to throw in some keystone cover plates and some extra jacks and whatnot to run around on my install. So I keep the strap inside. When I bought this bag, it was already coming with the basic nylon strap, no padding, but not a big deal. This thing isn't very heavy the way I have it loaded out. I just keep it inside again to keep everything compact and out of the way. It's not getting snagged on other bags or other tools in the truck. And since I've actually switched to a truck, I'm not in my van anymore. I need as much space as I can get. So zip ties, little labels from Ideal, little Cline Land Scout Junior, some shoe covers. Gotta have fresh shoe covers. I take some from the van and put them in each service bag after I've used them, because the last thing you want to do is be responsible for getting someone's floors dirty and you get a bad review, or you lose a potential customer because they're dissatisfied with you bringing a mess into their house. Data Crimp Tool and a little, that's my old Ideal punch tool. So that's all I keep in here. Again, I don't do a whole lot of networking anymore. Hardly any myself in terms of the installation, but I can. And some little troubleshooting and whatnot. So I like to keep these bags kind of sparse. I have just enough to get by in them. And if I need to do something with some other serious tracing or testing, I have my Veto MB and MB2 meter bags that I'll do a video on later. Sorry about that. And I'll clip them onto the D-rings and I'll just take in the one complete bundle. But for the most part, this is the initial lock-in. And if I find out I got to do some tracing because, say, someone needs to use a port that they weren't utilizing before and it's not tied into the block or tied into the distribution, I'll trace it out and find it for them. So I'll just clip those right on. That's what's great about these Vetos. They have different D-rings all over. And you can either hook your straps, hook your MBs. These small 1-inch D-rings that you have on the front and back and on either side are actually perfectly sized for the plastic belt clips that come on your Veto MB, MB2, and your TP3 and TP4 tool pouches. So they fit perfectly without a whole lot of movement on these clips. So that's been great too. Occasionally, if I know I'm going to be doing a little bit more of the install and I want to be mobile, I'll bring my TP4 along, hook it on there, throw the shoulder strap, carry it in one unit, put the TP4 on my belt, and throw the hand tools I need and a couple jacks in the TP4. It's really a pretty modular system, even if it wasn't designed to be. They've just built in the integration in the most modest way they possibly could to keep the form factor to a minimum. So that's one of the things I really like about Veto and I really appreciate. Along with another great vertical tool storage. I mean, you open this thing up and everything's out there facing you. You see everything. Yeah, there's room down in the bottom. You can jam a lot more stuff in there, but I have this thing as packed as I want it to be because I'm really trying to be considerate about the weight. So overall, I'm very pleased with this bag. I mean, it's in great shape. You can walk into a wet mechanical room. I can't tell you how many times I've done that for plumber friends or pool pump guy friends that they need to replace some jacks on a control board and they don't have the tool for it, so they call me because they know I can do it. And I'll go in, I'll set this thing down in the wet room. I'm not worried about water wicking up, and if it does, because it's so high for some reason, I just dry it out. And as you can tell, it's a little dusty and dirty and scuffed, but it's been wonderful. So I have no regrets over buying this bag. I'm very happy with this purchase. For what I paid for this bag 3 years ago, it's paid for itself many times over. Just the fact that I don't have to worry about these tools getting damaged. They're in a nice contained spot, and if I do leave it in the back of the truck and get drizzle on it, everything in there is dry, nothing's rusted, and I don't have to worry about it. So, you know, I'm not sponsored by Veto in any way, but I do enjoy using their product. You know, so like I said, I'm not being paid for any of this. This is just me in my little shop, giving y'all my honest opinions on the bag and showing y'all more or less what I've got in it to sort of help you if you're on the fence about this particular bag, or if you're curious what someone else is filling their bag up with. You see how I'm using it and you see what I'm using it for, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if not, dislike it. If you're into this sort of thing, hit that little subscribe button, and if not, carry on.